cost segregation, right? So let's say you have a house, let me make it easier. Let me say you have a fourplex, right? And it's worth, let's say, $1 million, okay? On your taxes, it's basically going to say that something like 200 to 250 of that is land, right? And let's just say it's 250, and it's 750 is the building, right? And when you buy this, they're automatically your CPA is going to take this. Your CPA is going to take 27.5 years, right? And they're basically going to take this 750 and amortize it over 27.5 years. Not exactly, but that's the basic gist. I'm not a CPA, but this is the basic idea. And so, now let's say, for conversation that I make, I don't know, let's say I make $500,000 a year. I'm just making up a number, right? Let's say I'm rich and I make $500K, right? 1099, right? And so I buy this building, right? Now why do I buy the building? I buy the building because in 10 years, right? And I know I'm obvious, 10 years, this will be worth $2 million, right? And instead of owing, let's say I put 25% down, right? So now it's $750,000 as my mortgage. Let's say in 10 years, now I owe, let's say $600,000, right? So I made $150 here, plus I made another $1 million, right, on it going up, right? But then the real value, and then of course you have rents, right, which I'm sure is going to be great. But your cost seg, right? If I'm making $500,000 a year, they can move. You'll get a study, and it costs $1,000 to $2,000 usually, maybe a little less if you find the right person. And they'll say, okay, well the roof has 5 years, and the plumbing is 15, and the flooring is 5. They have all these numbers and all these specifications, but in essence, what they do is they speed up the appreciation dramatically, and so much so that you get usually roughly 20% in year one. So, which means that on $750,000, you have about, let's see, I did the math wrong. You have about $150K that you can write off on your taxes. So let's say, you're making good money. You're making $500,000 a year. 35% is probably what you're being taxed at on the low end, right? So that this person's going to pay, $166K in taxes for, this year. But because of this, he takes the 500, right? They subtract the 150, right? And his actual taxable income now is $350K. So now at the 35%, what is that? 123, right? He's only being taxed, it's 123. So that person now saves, $44,000 in taxes. Sometimes if it's a large building, they will come out and do, if it's a massive commercial project, they will. If it's small, they won't. They'll just run the numbers based on averages, right?
How do you know this? How did this come into your life? What is it?
First time my buddy bought a few duplexes over in Michigan.
Okay.
And he did a bunch of cost segs on them. And then we're a duplex.
So what you're saying is instead of doing the 150 on that first year because of these things being accelerated, you're dividing it by the 27.5, so that it's a smaller amount every year.
Forever. Yeah, this is what your CPA is automatically going to do. Yeah, you don't want to do that because that write-off in year 1, in year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is not as valuable as today, right? Because you could take this $44,000 and what do? You go and you buy more real estate, right? And what you do is, so let's just be clear about the number one expense that we all have. The most expensive thing that we spend money on is taxes. We don't pay taxes. They take taxes.